Hi everyone, Lauren here. This is a video showing how I installed my fish finder on my jet ski. My daughter Samantha is holding the camera for me. What we have here is a 2012 Yamaha VX Deluxe. I'm going to show you the parts that I used in installing the fish finder. This particular jet ski, it has a reboarding step on the back, and we're going to use this reboarding step to mount the transducer onto the jet ski. Over here, the actual fish finder is mounted with a ram ball mount. This is an 1.5 inch ball, and you can see that I use stainless steel socketed cap screws to hold that ball on. The cables are right here. There's two cables. One of the cables is for the transducer, the other cable is for the power, and coming through the wall of the jet ski up here at the dash, I used a fitting made by Hobie Cat. This is actually for kayaks, but it worked out really well in installing these power cables. Also, what I did was I used some black spiral wrap to wrap these cables to give it a nice, neat, clean look. Over here on the table, we have pretty much all the parts that I used to do this. The ram ball mount, you can buy it as a kit. If you zoom in here, you can see the part number. This is a Ram 101-L011. This kit here is made for Lowrance. This is the fish finder that I have. This is a Lowrance fish finder. This is a Lowrance Elite 5 Chirp. I really like this a lot. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too heavy. This is the box for the Chirp. If you can zoom in there and see what I have, that's the box. These are the parts that come in the ram ball mount kit. This is the ball that mounts to the back side of the Lowrance fish finder. It's real easy to use. All you do is you pull this little lever up here, and it just fits inside the slot, and then you just slide that back over, and it's on there pretty good. I've never had a problem with this coming off. This is the ball lock right here, the tightening screws. So this piece here basically goes over the ball, and you tighten it like that. I'll go mount it on the jet ski too so you can see how it looks. So let's go over to the jet ski and we'll put this on the jet ski. Alright, the way this fits on the jet ski is you take the coupler, I think this is called a coupler, and you slip it on the ball, and then you take the fish finder, you slip the ball in there and loosen up so it fits, and then basically you just keep tightening it, and you can position it wherever you want it. I have this mounted in a spot where I can dock this jet ski up against a gas dock, and I don't have to worry about the pole hitting the fish finder. The other nice thing about these ram balls is that this ball here is rubber, and it's molded onto this metal fitting, and it gives it some flexibility so that when you're thrashing around on the water in the waves, it'll move around, and it doesn't come off, it doesn't loosen, it's pretty solid. Something else I'd like to mention here with mounting this, the sidewall of my jet ski is curved and the base of this ball is flat. So what I did was I went to the hardware store and I got a piece of felt that's used under a couch. You can put this felt underneath the couch so that you can slide couches easily on wooden floors and linoleum floors. So between the ball and the surface of this jet ski, I put a piece of felt here, and what I did was I sanded that felt down with a drum sander on a air grinder so that it matches that curve, and it worked really well to kind of shim those two pieces together. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and screw these cable connectors onto the back side so you can see what it looks like after it's installed. Alright, so that's what it looks like when the fish finder is on the jet ski. I'm going to take the cover off, and if you want to come around here, Samantha, and just kind of show the cables, show the connector. Perfect. So they can get a real good idea of what it looks like. Alright, fantastic. What I had to do was drill a hole in the side of the jet ski here to fit this Hobie Cat fitting. I actually have two of these fittings. I have one on the outside here, and there's another one on the inside. I'm going to grab a flashlight and I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. going to take the seat off so we can see in there real easy. I'm going to put the light inside there, Samantha. It's kind of dark, so I'm going to put this light inside just to make it easier to see. Hopefully. Alright, so you can see here, this is the second Hobie Cat fitting that I have, and then these are the wires going down into the jet ski. So that's what it looks like. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and close this hatch here. If you look on YouTube, there are a lot of videos showing people mounting their fish finders on this this panel here. Personally, I wouldn't want to do it that way because this hatch is closed with this little latch here, and the latch has a plastic finger on it, and these fingers wear out. I had the jet ski for about 2 years, and after the second year this door went closed, so it was just flopping around doing this when I was driving on the water. So I could see you know, where people would have problems with this door opening, having that heavy fish finder mounted on that door. So I think mounting it on the ram ball over there on the side is a better option. Looking inside the engine here in the jet ski, I'll show you how I ran the power up to the fish finder. And basically what I did was I got a breaker right here, and this is a 50 amp breaker, and I wired the breaker to a fuse block. And this particular fuse block is made by Blue Sea, and it has a cover. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots for fuses, and so this would be the positive side, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots for the negative wires over here. So this particular fuse block has connections for both negative and positive. All of these screws are stainless steel, but I replaced the nuts. This is the positive cable right here. It's wrapped in black spiral wrap just to make it look neat. So this is the positive cable. The nut that came with this connector, I put a brass nylock on it, just so I didn't have to worry about those two galling. And then also over here on the negative cable, I did the same thing. I have a brass nylock right there on that stainless stud, so that I don't ever have to worry about those galling. And then as far as wiring, it's just a simple matter of going to West Marine. I got the Marine grade wire from West Marine. They cut it and sell it by the foot. So I just ran the wire from here down to my battery, and the same thing with the negative cable. I used the same gauge. I can't remember off the top of my head what gauge I used, but let's see if I can. This particular cable is an 8 gauge, but I'm not an electrician, so you would have to check with an electrician to make sure that that 8 gauge cable is going to be enough cable to carry the amount of current that you're going to run on your jet ski. And also the nice thing about this this fuse block is I have plenty of other slots. Eventually I'm going to add lights on this jet ski, so I'm going to be able to easily add lights to the jet ski. The way I mounted this block and this block onto the jet ski is I made a universal bracket out of aluminum. So this bracket here that I'm touching is a aluminum bracket, and you can see over here on this side I mounted it with stainless steel screws and brass nylocks. So I had 3 screws there. We'll go around the back side here and take a look at the transducer. This seems to be a very common problem that people have when installing a fish finder is, you have to figure out how you're going to run the transducer cable through the jet ski. So I have a couple things here. This is a bracket that I made out of aluminum. It's a 2-piece bracket. So this mounts to the boarding step, and then I have another piece of aluminum over here that has a lot of drill and tapped holes on it. This is the transducer that came from Lorenz out of the box, and I have this mounted to a spring back bracket. You can find that online. This is actually a patented part. This guy has made these pieces are out of stainless steel, and it has a spring-loaded, basically spring-loaded, so that if you run this up on the beach, it'll pivot, and it won't break your transducer if you hit something. The other thing I did here to install this transducer into the jet ski is I made this fitting here, and this fitting it allows me to take this cable and pass it through. I had to drill a hole into the transom of the jet ski, and it let me pass the cable fitting through the hull of the jet ski, and then I put this fitting over the cable, and it sealed this off very well. So when the jet ski is in the water with nobody on it, the water line is right about here, but when you have riders on the jet ski, this fitting is below the water line. This fitting has a rubber gasket that goes between the transom of the jet ski and the fitting, and it makes a watertight seal. And also you can see this black 3M 4200 sealing material that's in this groove, and it goes around the cable, and it completely seals the cable and the fitting to the hull of the jet ski, so there's no water going on the inside. Let's go over to the table and I'll show you all the parts that I used in doing this. This is the Hobie Cat fitting that I used to trim the wires and the cables up at the dash. Basically, when you buy it, you get this little stringer full of connectors, and these connectors have different size holes that you can use depending on the cable configuration that you have. And it even has a blank there, so if you just want to seal it so that it covers the hole, you can put that blank in there. And then it has this one here for the double cable. I believe that's the one that I used on my jet ski. It does come with two fittings and 2 connectors, so it worked out really well because that's exactly how many I needed. If you'd zoom in here, Samantha, this is the package from Hobie Cat, and it's Hobie Cat item number 865-05621. This is a very nice fitting. Let's see what's on the other side here. Not much. Hobie, H-O-B-I-E. This is the fuse block connector that I used here. This is made by Blue Sea, and this is an ST blade fuse block. It has 6 circuits with cover and negative bus. So like I said, this has the 6 screws for the positive terminals. It has 6 screws for the negative terminals, and then it also has a place where you can put the fuse for the positive terminals. There's 6 different fuse slots. We've already talked about this. This is the Ram ball mount kit that you can buy from Ram, and they have connectors that are available for the Elite Series fish finders, where it goes right onto the back of the fish finder. It's really nice. This is the Ram 101 L011. Very nice kit. This is the fish finder transducer. This is a skimmer transducer that came in the Waverunner kit. The problem we have with this transducer is that the end of the transducer has this cable fitting molded on the end. This fitting does not come off, so it's hard to basically what you have to do is if you're going to drill a hole through the transom, you have to drill a big hole that's large enough to pass the cable fitting through, and then after you get it through there, you have to seal this cable off somehow so it doesn't leak. I have a fitting that I made to do that. This fitting is United States patent pending at this time. This is what the fitting looks like when it's all together. The fitting, it uses 3 tightening screws. It has a key right here. The key keeps it from this nut from turning, and then once you get everything installed, you can put the safety wire in to prevent the screws from turning, and then it also acts as a retainer for this key. This piece in the middle here, basically this is just this is there just so that you can see how thick the transom is on this Yamaha. So I think it's about 3/16 of an inch thick. When you drill that hole through the transom, you'll find that that's about how thick the slug is that'll come out of that hole. The fitting has a groove right here that you can use. You can apply sealant to the groove, and then you can also go around the cable with the sealant and then down to the rubber seal so that you can seal it. What I used on my jet ski, and it worked very well, was a 3M marine adhesive sealant. I used the 4200. This works well for above the water line and also below the water line. There's also a 5200 that is more permanent. I haven't used the 5200 because I want to have the ability to take this apart if I need to. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is show how the cable fitting that's used to seal the transducer cable after you drill a hole inside the transom of the jet ski, if you decide to go that route, how you assemble the cable fitting. So what I have here is the transducer, the skimmer transducer that came in the box from Lowrance. I'm going to unwrap this wire, unwind this wire. There's a lot of cable, a lot of wire here. So basically you would have to do this when you're installing it on your boat, or if you're installing it on a jet ski, you're going to have to do this. Alright, so we have all of that unwound. First thing we're going to do is take the rubber washer. There's two different sizes here. One of the rubber washers has a smaller hole, the other one has a bigger hole. There's a groove up here at the shoulder of the fitting. The smaller hole fits inside that groove. So I'm going to take the smaller washer, I'm going to see how the cable fitting goes right through it. I'm going to pass this all the way down the cable. Go all the way down. And the benefit of doing this is that you do not have to cut the cable at all. And also, the other benefit in doing this is this particular transducer has a water temperature sensor built into the transducer. So by having the skimmer transducer mounted on the transom on the outside of the jet ski in the water, you're going to get an accurate reading of what the water temperature is, and I really like having that feature. Alright, so next what you're going to do, this would be the hole that you drill inside the transom of your boat or your jet ski. I'm going to take the cable, I'm going to pass it all the way through. So this would be the outside of the jet ski, and this would be the inside. So I'm going to pass this fitting all the way through. And you're going to fish this all the way through. You're going to have to come over on this side. So you have to.
Where I was?
I think so. You have to fish this all the way through. Before you mount the transducer, you have to determine how much cable you need sticking out the back side of the boat, so that you'll, when you screw the transducer down, you do have enough cable. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to guesstimate where the end of the transducer fitting is going to be, and I'm going to put a piece of tape right on the cable at that point, just a piece of masking tape, so that I can mark the cable. And then I'm going to assemble the fitting. So this rubber washer is going to go against the transom, and I'm going to assemble the fitting around the cable. So I want it right about there. I'll fit the cable inside the groove. I'm going to put both dowel pins inside the holes. And then I'm going to take the mating piece, put it over the transducer cable, and then the socketed cap screw goes inside the drilled and tapped hole. Tighten the screw just enough to hold the pieces together. You don't want to over tighten it, because that screw is aluminum and you could easily strip that screw out, and then you're going to have a problem. So then you can go ahead and assemble the fitting inside the hole. I'll slide this over, this rubber seal over here. I'll put this inside the hole. I have a spanner wrench here that fits inside these holes, so that somebody on the outside of the boat can position the fitting wherever you want it, and they can hold it. And you can go ahead and mount the transducer on the transom before you seal it. And then we're going to move over to the inside, and we're going to install the rest of it on the inside. The next thing you'll do is you'll take the rubber washer, slip it over the threads until it touches the transom on the inside. You'll take the pressure plate, slip it over the threads. Alright, so we're going to finish installing these pieces on the inside of the boat. These tightening screws, these jack screws, I'm going to back these out, and I'm gonna make it so that the screw lines up with this surface here. All these screws line up with this surface, and the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to hold the pressure plate washer against the nut. I'm going to run this in until it touches, run this one in until it touches, and then run this third one in until it touches. It's kind of hard to do, but that's touching, that one's touching, and that one's touching. So now they're all on that surface. What I'm going to do is just take a marker and put a little tick mark so they all line up, so I can count the turns real easy. There's a little tick mark. It's going to make it easy for me to count these turns. And they're all facing the same direction. The washer pressure plate goes over the fitting. I'm going to take this nut and run it up until it's just snug, and then I'm going to back it off until the keyway slots line up. Next, the keyway, or the key, is going to go inside the keyway slot, and then we can go ahead and start tightening this. So I'm going to run this in, and I'm counting the turns, and just until it's finger tight. So there's one turn, that happens to be 2 turns. So now I'm going to watch the marks. I'm going to turn this one turn, 2 turns. Now it's finger tight. Tighten this one turn, and there's the second turn. I'm going to go an additional 2 turns so that it squeezes the rubber washers on the inside and the outside, and it seals them against those washers. So this is a 11/32 nut driver that I'm using. I'm going to tighten these 2 additional turns, and I'm just watching. I have the nut driver is marked on this side, so I'm going to count the turns. So there's 1 turn, 1 turn, there's 1 turn, that's the second turn on that one, second turn, that's the second turn on that one. So now all the marks should be lined up and pointing the same direction. And then the other thing you may have to do is you might have to tighten this a little more, a little bit less, a little bit more, a little bit less, so that when you run the safety wire through the holes of the jack screws, it'll make it easier to get the wire through the holes. Alright, so once you have this turned where you want it, and you have your transducer, you have enough cable sticking out so that you can mount the transducer where you want it, you can take this tape off, and then you can go ahead and use your 3M marine adhesive sealant to fill the groove. This is a sealant groove. So what you do is you basically just get a caulking gun, and you fill this groove, fill it, fill it, fill it, fill it, fill it, fill it, go all the way around the cable, all the way around the cable, and then fill this other side here. Read the package. This has got to dry, I think, for a day or 2. Whatever the manufacturer recommends, go by the recommendations. And then after it dries, this is what it's going to look like. So on this one here, I put extra sealant on it with the intention of trimming this off after I was done. You don't have to trim it if you don't want to, but it looks neater if you do. So I sealed the groove around the cable, and then the groove on that side, and I also filled that socket cap screw hole right there. Over here on this side, you can see what it looks like after it's trimmed with a razor knife. I trimmed it. There's no need to trim around the cable because you want to leave the sealant around the cable so it doesn't leak, and then you can trim it on the inside too, just so it looks neat. And then also where that socketed cap screw is at, I trimmed it with a razor knife, a single edge razor knife, to make that flush too. One thing I'd like to say about this fitting is that right now, the way this is installed, it's completely watertight. It's not going to leak. You can put this under the water line, it's not going to leak. You can, if you need to take this out of the boat or take this out of the jet ski, the only thing sealing it right now is that rubber gasket. So we can completely take this apart and I can pull this out and it's not going to be glued to the jet ski. After you have it all done, come around here, Samantha. After you have it all done, you can lock all of these pieces together so they won't come out using safety wire. And this is just a little demonstration here of how you can do that. I took safety wire and I ran it through the holes of the jack screws, and then I twisted it together. And on this particular piece here, I have the safety wire holding the retaining the key inside the keyway slot, so it won't come out. You can't get that out. The key also has some holes in it, so if you want to run the wire through the hole so that it's permanently fixed through that hole, you can also do it that way. Alright, and one more thing that I'd like to show you is this fitting here. This is a United States patent pending fitting, but it comes in different configurations. So these three that I have on the board here, these are all, they cause the cable to come out of the side of the fitting. And then you can also get a fitting that has a groove straight through. So if you want to, just depending on your application, if you want the cable to come straight out the end of the fitting, that is available as well. And then also the other thing that's different about this fitting here is these three fittings that I have installed have the rubber sealing gasket between the fitting and the transom of the boat. And I do know that when some people install these fittings and transducers, they prefer not to use these rubber gaskets. So another option that's available is you can get these fittings that has a groove. When you have this fitting put together, there's a groove on the head of the fitting right in here. So if you choose not to use this sealing gasket, if you'd like to use a 3M 4200 or 5200 sealant instead, you can fill this groove on the face of that, and then you can take the fitting and you can install it. All of that sealant will squirt out, and then you would have to clean it up, and then you would also have to use the sealant to fill that sealant groove around the cable. So that's an option too. You can also these are available without the rubber seal, with a groove in the head, and you can see the groove really good right there, so that you can fill that groove with the sealant. Just a different option. This is what it looks like again. This is that fitting that I just showed you. This is the transducer cable right here. The black sealant is inside the groove. It goes around the cable, and this is the rubber washer that's up against the transom. This is very tight. It won't turn. It doesn't leak. This is the aluminum mounting bracket. This mounting bracket mounts right to the boarding step bracket. So this is the factory bracket. This is a spring back bracket. It's spring loaded, so you can, if you hit something in the water or beach the jet ski, it'll lift without breaking your transducer. This is the ram ball mount here. It has a tightening screw. You can loosen this here, and you can position this any way you want. A lot of flexibility in how you position this, and then you just tighten it where you want. It's flexible. It moves a little bit. I also would like to mention that on the inside of the jet ski here, where I have these socket cap screws, I use fender washers. So I have some very big washers on the inside, so that you don't have to worry about that nut breaking through the surface of this plastic housing. And then over here, this is what the fuse block looks like. This is the Blue Sea disconnect switch. You can turn the power off if you want to. You can turn it on. This is the Blue Sea fuse block. It's got a cover on it, a very nice cover. And you have the positive terminals here that are fused. You have the negative terminals here for the ground. That's everything. It's actually a pretty easy install. Thanks for watching.